Okay, so we just read that story about the enchanted musician, the wonderful musician, the Grimm's Brothers story. Do you want to give a synopsis and then we can talk a little bit
Mm,
about it?
Yeah, so a musician who plays the fiddle is wandering through the forest and he gets lonely. So he plays his fiddle hoping to attract someone to be his companion. And he attracts uh, a wolf, a fox, and a hare along the way. But each time he feels that they're not the right companions, so he comes up with ways to trap them because he makes them promise that they'll they'll do whatever he says in exchange for learning how to play the fiddle like him. So he comes up with ways to trap them along the way, and eventually he finds the right companion, which is like a woodcutter. And by this time, all the animals had set themselves free and were coming in for revenge. Um, but then in the end, the woodcutter kind of defends the fiddler, and the animals run back in fear into the forest.
Yeah. What do you think about that story?
Mhm. Well, yeah, I wondered if I wouldn't trust a wolf or a fox in the forest, so I wondered if it was something about trust or uh, I, or maybe because I don't know, but in the end, he also says that the woodcutter, he's a human, so he's the only being that could kind of understand his art or his music. So I don't know, maybe it's saying something about like the capabilities of like man and animal or something.
Mhm. I noticed
Yeah, I'm not.
the character of the musician. I mean, he seems kind of like a god, like
Yeah.
he's walking through the woods. I mean, I wondered if he's like an echo of the Greek god Pan, who played a
Mhm.
like a flute or something and lived in the
Mhm.
woods, and who may be the origin of the word panic that you might
Mhm.
have when you're in the forest. And unlike in the city where the rules and the layout is somewhat known, the forest can be chaos and full of unknowns.
Mhm.
And this story also does seem to be about knowledge in some way, but the beasts, like, they search for knowledge, but they aren't allowed to have it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, like you said, maybe difference between animals and humans.
Mhm.
But it seems like the beasts, the musician was vulnerable because it seems like the animals could have
Yeah.
killed him, but the woodcutter helped him. The woodcutter is like a useful man. He cannot make
Mhm.
music, but he can make things, and he protects the one who does make the music.
Mhm.
I mean, the one who
Yeah.
makes music, he attracts everything good and bad. Maybe
Mhm.
it's something about that.
Yeah. Like I also noticed like as each animal gets progressively less threatening. So I wonder if there's
Yeah, that was
any
funny.
commentary with that because
Yeah, you expect it to kind of be
yeah,
the opposite, to for the tension to build, but the wolf comes right away, and then it's only a fox, and then only a hare, which isn't
yeah.
even a threat at all. And I wonder why he ties them up instead of killing them. But
Mm,
maybe he can't. I mean, apparently he's not very violent. He's just clever and gifted.
mm, mm.
I don't know, but that
Yeah,
story was kind of weird.
yeah, it's weird. I couldn't get out, but yeah, like those animals, they want to resolve their grievances through him with violence, presumably, but he, like you said, he's not that kind of person. So maybe he's kind of highlighting then the way man is above beast in a way,
Mm,
or I don't know, or capable, or have more capable, I guess, of being above violence.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and
yeah,
he plays music which is harmonious,
yeah.
and they want to learn it, but they aren't allowed. And yeah, harmony versus yeah, violence or the wild. But I think it said something like yeah, he wanted a companion mate. The reason he started playing music was because yeah, time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest, and I will fetch a good companion for myself. This almost reminds me of like the Garden of Eden or something like, you know, Adam was not complete without a companion. I mean, a human, yeah, maybe this is about humanity in some way. I mean, a human alone is not complete. He wants somebody else. And even though the one that comes is a man, uh, and they don't have like a real relationship exactly, it's more like a division of labor or something, you know. And even at the end of the story it says that after the woodcutter scared away the beasts, he and the musician spent some more time together, presumably where the woodcutter is like in awe of the music, but then it says the musician moves on, like it's not like a romance
Mhm.
where at the end, you know, they're together.
Yeah, so maybe it's implying that the musician is going to keep searching or something.
Or maybe
I don't know.
he is like sort of like a god in that he's semi-independent. The point
Hmm.
is not like in a romance where it ends where they get married and then there'll be children, and like the whole point of the romance is to sort of show how uh the the two find a companion and the various like tests and things. But in this story it's more maybe yeah, he's this restless traveler, and yeah, he's looking like in a romance, he's looking for the right companion to some degree. Maybe not. It's not like this image of perfection. It's the right companion audience guy. But then he moves on after a while. I mean, he's different. Yeah, he's more independent. He just needs someone for a while. Then he moves on. Yeah, I mean, music is inherently social. I mean, that's one thing. And he could be the image of a wandering troubadour or something like that, wandering poet who, yeah, who wants an audience. It's interesting that the wolf and the fox and the hare, they all love the music, but he wouldn't teach it to them, or yeah, he didn't want them to listen to it. I mean, because all the woodcutter did apparently was just listen rapt, you know. I mean, it wasn't like he he necess he seemed any different than any of the animals.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just kind of made paranoid and I thought the wolf and fox maybe had ulterior motives. Didn't really want to
Well, that's what I
do
assumed at
music.
first. I thought they were I when the wolf came, I thought he was just pretending to like the music, but it's just the music had attracted to him.
Yeah,
And the theme is sort of, yeah, be careful what you attract, or be, you know, be
yeah.
careful of the consequences of your action, which may be done in innocence. But yeah, the yeah, I thought the wolf was just talking like as a
Mm,
asking for instruction as a pretext, and he was gonna try to eat him.
mm.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, is it just? I mean, what's the sign? And it's weird that it's a wolf and a fox. I mean, those are both
Yeah.
predatory. Fox in stories tends to trick, and the wolf is like
Mm,
the main enemy
mm.
of humans.
Yeah.
But not so the hare.
Yeah, it's just a kind of strange story, and I'd be interested in hearing more interpretations.
Mm. Well, what's your favorite fable or story?
Mm, I don't really, again, I'm not really sure. I'm thinking of the ones we've read so far, and I can't really choose one.
Do you have a favorite character? I think I've asked this in some way before, but I think it's a good question. One that resonates with you.
Mm,
Or, I mean, what is it that you enjoy about these stories?
Well, I enjoy trying to figure out the symbolism or like the messages they might that might not be so obvious. Um, and yeah, and I like hearing like the connections to religion that you sometimes point out, for example. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I guess just there's like a lot more of that in these kind of older kind of stories and fables. Just a lot of connection to like religion.
There's maybe more richness in that. Maybe some modern stories
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
little bit more of a superficial, practical kind of feel. I was just thinking of
yeah.
the story, The Tortoise and the Hare. I don't know what the significance, like the history of that is, but to me, that seems like kind of a superficial story of just like simple. It's a good message about, yeah, slow and steady wins the race. But at the
Mm-hmm,
same time, I don't really see like deeper significance there.
hmm.
It just seems like
Yeah,
a practical message.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe
I think.
a lot of more modern stories are a little bit like that, a little bit less of double meanings or deeper meanings, multiple meanings, and
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
richness.
yeah. I'm thinking of like Snow White. Now that one was when we read that one, and that was just very rich
Yeah,
and
that
all
was
of that
pretty
kind of
good.
stuff.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Mm, I can't really think of one right now. But how about you?
I mean, not one, probably. I guess
Yeah.
the one that's on my mind more than any other is the one we saw together somewhat recently, Oppenheimer.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that was I like that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that a lot. I think I told you when I watched it with you was the third time, and I was appreciating the transitions between scenes, at least in the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really like that movie. I like the main character. I mean, I guess I see a little bit of myself in him too, and so I enjoy it trying to understand myself more. And yeah, just I think it's very relevant to our time. Of course, being about nuclear war and maybe larger issue of being about the sort of utility of knowledge, or especially scientific knowledge, and the the kind of drawbacks to that. I mean, it was a great story for that because Oppenheimer himself was very dubious or very worried about the implications of the knowledge uh, uh, that could lead to the splitting of the atom, and then once they
Mm,
split the atom, it he saw and many others did that the implication was a bomb. And should you develop that, or is that sort of forbidden knowledge?
mm,
But problem was the Nazi, they thought the Nazis were going to be able, they were afraid the Nazis would develop their own bomb, and then you wouldn't want a world where only the Nazis have the bomb.
mm,
And then later, whether they should develop the H bomb or not. And it seems like from the movie, he tried to get them to just keep it to A bombs and not have an arms race with the Soviets with H bombs and
mm.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I like that movie a lot. I like movies, that in a really interesting way tell a story with interesting characters that are relevant to our times.
Mm.
I was just thinking about how Stanley Kubrick did that at least a few times with his movies. He made a movie about nuclear war called Doctor Strangelove. That was really good.
Mm.
It kind of made it into like a really dark comedy.
Oh, I think I might have seen clips of that or the whole movie in English
Mm,
in high school.
mm. Is this the same English class that showed you Blazing Saddles?
I think so. Or I don't know because it was two English teachers that seemed to be friends, so I had them in differing years. So it might have been both, and I imagine maybe they bounce ideas off each other and stuff
Yeah, yeah,
and
because I
showed
don't
those
think in
kinds of
English
movies.
class in high school I saw any really good movies like that.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to influence you to, at least with, exposing you to a little bit of movie culture,
yeah.
not
So my
probably the
English
typical
teach,
Hollywood movies that you guys might be seeing.
yeah, I think the whole department, like they seem to really like movies. Um, I remember one of my English teachers that showed one of those movies, I think made his own or something.
Made his own movies.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
or like, yeah. So he would sometimes show us like clips and stuff.
Hmm. What did you think of Blazing Saddles?
Well, I think when we were in high school, we thought it was funny. But I didn't remember much of it because it was so long ago.
I mean, we watched it recently,
Um,
didn't we?
yeah, we did. And yeah, I just felt even though it's an old movie now, like relatively old, like it just felt kind of refreshing because it's not wouldn't be well received today, most likely.
Well, by some
Uh,
people. I mean, we
right.
have
If
sort of
I'm
a
yeah,
cancel culture or something like that, or hypersensitivity. But
yeah. Yeah, so it felt kind of like a breath of fresh air almost, still, even after all these decades since it's come out.
you just
Uh,
mean in
like
terms
the
of
only,
how they break taboos about using racial language.
yeah, because in some ways I feel we've kind of entered a time where language is kind of, or I guess freedom
Yeah,
of language in a way
yeah,
is kind of being curbed back again.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that we watched part of it though, so I didn't finish the rest. So I don't really have much to say on the rest of the movie.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember it.
Sorry, I didn't remember if we didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Well, apply any philosophy to your life this week.
Mm,
Have you listened to
I'll
any
try to
more of this?
understand.
Have you listened to any more of the Stoic on the Waking Up app? The Stoic.
No, I
Uh,
haven't. Uh, have you?
Not recently, no.
Mm, But, but yeah, I remember those were good lessons.
Mm, yeah. Well, okay. Anything else you want to talk about today?
Mm, I think I'm good.
Well, okay. Well, be impeccable with your word until next time.
Mm, Yep.